Hey peeps, we're back with joke time. Why are basketball players such messy eaters? Because they're always dribbling. Me, on the other hand, I'm shooting and scoring 2 points. Let's go back to 757 Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome to another episode of 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV with the Coach Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. Glad you're all tuned in on this particular episode. It is the 15th day of August. It is the year 2026. See where I'm at, and you see where Ed's at. And we have a lot to do on this show. It is jam-packed, loaded with football, and more football. I've gotten messages. Are you gonna speak on your observations from scrimmages? Are we going to have some interviews? Yes, and more yes as we greet you on this Saturday. How are you, sir?
Feel good.
Feel good.
Another day above ground is a blessing. The coach greets all. And
What are you shaking your head at?
you're bouncing up and down because you want me to see your shirt. It says, just trying to stay in my lane.
I am. I'm just trying to stay in my lane. Listen, a lot of your coaching brethren get very emotional this time of year. They're high-strung. We know these football coaches are all the time. So I just want to make sure that people know I'm staying in my lane. Even if I got to wear a shirt to the end of time, I'm staying in my lane. So, it's a different – people get very – the sensitivity level has been heightened all over the world these days. So I'm just letting you know I'm trying to stay in my lane.
Why would you have to tell everybody you're staying in your lane? Do like me. Just stay in your lane all the time.
Nah, you swerve all over the road. I've watched you drive. You swerve. You're a swerver. Good morning, Woody. I bet Woody never swerves. He always stays in his lane. This is going to be one of his favorite episodes of the season. I know, Derek, this is like the cliffhanger of Law & Order SVU. We're trying to see if Benson can catch the bad guy. And we know who the bad guy is. It's not me. It's the other guy. That's how this works. Oh, he doesn't know what we're talking about, Law & Order SVU. He doesn't watch America's favorite TV show. I'm sorry. Apologies about that.
Don't have time to watch those shows. I wish I could, but I just
don't have time. What are you doing that occupies so much of your time? What are you doing that occupies so much of your time? Do I really want to know? Let me apologize to the audience for asking that question because this could open up Pandora's box.
No, I'm out and about. I'm helping thy neighbors. I'm cutting grass. I'm looking through some. Kind of got a little nostalgic a few weeks ago, cleaning off my bookcase, some old basketball books and things, and I'm looking at some old offenses, defenses that some coaches wrote about in the past. Raleigh Massimino, Jerry Tarkanian, Jim Valvano. Unfortunately, all these guys are gone. But just looking at some stuff, and I'm thinking, you know what? I want to use some. Let me see what's out there. It's some new stuff that I can use in my repertoire.
Stuff in your repertoire.
So,
okay.
I do a lot of that. I've been doing a lot of that lately. Just reading.
Okay.
Trying to educate myself.
Trying to educate. Okay, very good. Later on in the program, whether Ed is with us or not, or in his lane or not, we're going to have Matt Hatfield's top 10. I've slaved over this here's what I've done. I've tried to see if I can squeeze in somebody I really want on this list, but I'm not sure that I can. It's the top 10 NFL players of all time from the 757. This is an exclusive list, and there's a lot of good football players who didn't make this list. But I think the 10 are the 10, and that is that. Yeah. So
I'll look at it and make observation, critique as where near be as I've always done in the past. So help you stay in your lane.
That's right. And it's almost that time. Next week, we're going to have our special preview show where we do the five Beach, Eastern, Southeastern Peninsula, and Bay Rivers District picks for top 4 and Players of the Year offense and defense. So Ed is already beginning his homework on that. Have you got your selections picked out? Or are you still mapping out what you want to take for this year?
I've got the district winners for
Okay.
each district.
Still
So
working
now,
on the players. Okay.
now comes the hard part in terms of jockeying those other teams to where they might be finishing.
Yeah. I know that's the difficult part for you, but a lot happening. Have you checked out much preseason NFL action? Have you been into it? Did you watch the Cardinals Raiders the other night? I know you enjoyed that game almost as much as you enjoyed the Blue Jays win last night or the Diamondbacks win over the Braves. It was 27-14 in case you didn't get a chance to check it out between Arizona and Las Vegas.
I saw most of the second half, and I'll tell you what, it's a shame he's on that team because I think he's going to be pretty good. Jeremiah Love.
Oh, Jeremiah Love. He was a Bullfrog, and he was a friend of yours when he played for Notre Dame. He's not a friend of yours anymore. So.
Oh no, I'm still ride with him because he's good.
You don't like Ashton Genty for the Raiders?
Yeah, I like Genty too. We got to get him going. I don't get crazy on preseason. I love to watch preseason in terms of new guys, rookies, who's going to make it, who's not, who's potentially going to make it, who probably won't. You know, I don't get hung up on the score. I'm not throwing things at the TV like regular season. But I did watch it, and wasn't enamored like, oh man, Mendoza's the greatest quarterback in the world. He did all right, and I do believe Kirk Cousins should be the starter week 1, no question. But yeah, Jeremiah Love, that was a great pickup by Arizona.
Yeah, it really was. Really,
if you're getting the kind of yards he was getting, he had some really strong runs. And preseason, I like to think when things are tighter, veterans are playing more, you might do a little better. Of course, then again, you're playing against regular defenses now in the regular season. So
very true. Very true. We're going to be doing coming up, not today, but probably in a couple of weeks, we will do our National Football League. I know you love this, over-unders for the upcoming campaign. Unlike the baseball and the basketball, where we pick, 3 to 5 teams that we like to go over or under their win totals, you and I pick every National Football League teams over and under for the wins. So that'll be fun to do. And I'm trying to get it for the audience to see, because I know they're curious. Well, how did it go in 2025? And I definitely have to show you all how it went in 2025. This was very fascinating to see how this turned out between you and I in the National Football League over-under picks for 2025. So bear with me. I'm trying to get this up here for the audience. But before I do that, we have, in addition to a guest who's supposed to join us at 10:35 this morning live, Dontrell, Leonard, new football coach of the Bayside Marlins. He was at Churchland for many, many years and played at Norfolk State in college, played for the late Tommy Riemann in high school, by the way. We've got a bunch of high school football clips that you can hear from Ed this morning with the likes of Jahvoni Simmons, Oscar Smith, assistant coach, former All-State linebacker, Ocean Lakes UVA, DJ Dinsmoor, who was on the show a couple weeks back from First Colonial, Zecharie James, Kecoughtan, Daryl Cherry, Kempsville, Donnell Cherry, Woodside, no relation, I don't believe, Brandon Williams of Green Run, and Billy Mills from Dinwiddie to 804. So we'll definitely give you a chance to pick who you want to hear from first, and we'll have them all sprinkled out throughout the morning. But what are you most intrigued by, before we get to all that, as football's getting ready to start? College, pro, high school, what are you most fascinated by? We know that first NFL game's on a Wednesday night, Seahawks and Patriots. We know there's always a bunch of big college games to start off a season. I'll tell you one that I'm not so much interested to hear how they do, but I heard a stat this morning that the Jets have missed the playoffs 15 straight years. So I guess for me on the NFL side of things, I'm trying to see which team, and it always happens every year, worst to first, which team is the rotten team that suddenly overnight becomes the good team. I don't think it's the Jets, but there's a lot of love for the other New York team, the Giants, to all of a sudden go from worst to best and maybe win that NFC East that Philadelphia's favored to win. And you've kind of said this offseason you like Dallas. So that's what I'm always curious to see, which NFL team does the shocking turnaround. That's what it is for me. How about for you? Is it about Patrick Mahomes coming back from injury? Is it about college football, Indiana with Kurt Signetti? Is it something else? Where are you most intrigued as football is getting ready to get revved up and ramped up?
Well, I would space it out in terms of the pros. Okay, are we going to have our ninth straight different Super Bowl champ?
No, it wouldn't be 9 straight because Kansas City just won back to back not that long ago. You're getting the NBA confused with that.
NBA. Okay,
yeah, with the
I'm getting hyped for basketball season.
No, because football, the Super Bowl champions have been lately. It was Seattle, Eagles, Chiefs went back to back and tried a three-peat. So we've had a little bit of parity in pro football and baseball, but not nearly like it's been in basketball.
I think a lot of people are on the Rams, so I'm anxious to see what the Rams do coming out the gate, how strong they could be. And I would probably jump on the bandwagon when everybody else picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl. So let's see, can they go from start to finish as being the number one team? Of course, I'm a little intrigued. I think my Raiders are better, but like I was telling Buddy the other day, I really don't see them winning more than 9 games.
It's a tough division to win 9 even. You got Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, who, by the way, if you're into the investing business, which I know you are, I'm not. I save my money. I don't be throwing it willy-nilly like you. But if you want to put a couple shekels down, it's at plus money, which means you'll make more than you wager on the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Chargers, each individually to miss the playoffs. So they're all favored to make the playoffs, all 3.
That's the Raiders are definitely the worst team in that division, even now.
Predicted to be.
Yeah, I would think they were now. Of course, I hope they don't do that, but let's see.
Are you fascinated by Jaden Daniels, by the way, what he does in year 3? It's an awesome. You're not. You're shaking your head. No. Awesome rookie year. By the way, Tunsil being hurt for the Commanders, so there's a lot of little, some concern somewhat on that front with the offensive line. I had a less than sophomore year because of the injury. So,
I got in the NFC East. I have Dallas, Philly, Giants.
You have Commanders in the rear. Wow.
Commanders. I got Commanders last. I really do. And I don't hate them. I know there's a lot of Washington lovers out there.
You're a hater.
I don't hate them.
Yeah, you do. You hate them.
I think the Giants with Harbaugh will be better. Of course, Daniels is 100%. They could contend, and I even think that division, even though I have Washington last, wouldn't be surprised they win it. That division's tough. I just, for some reason, feeling the Cowboys, and I'm not a big Cowboy fan. I'm just feeling the Cowboys if they can play some defense. I mean, that's the key. Their offense is always good with some D.
Playing defense helps. Yes, I would concur with that.
Buffalo. A lot of people like Buffalo. I think that's your Super Bowl predicted winner.
Well, I don't give all my picks away, but I think we've been saying it for the last 4 or 5 years. It's their time.
You got to get it right at some point.
You're going to
get it right.
And they changed the regime a little bit with the coaching. I still don't love Josh Allen's weaponry. I think the defense will be better, but I don't love his weaponry. But him and James Cook, who's always going to cook, they're a great tandem. It's just the AFC has a lot of teams that could get there, and the NFC does for that matter too. But it feels like the Rams are a prohibited favorite in the NFC, much more than the Bills are in the AFC. You see some people say Ravens, some people say Broncos. They think Kansas City's going to be back there. Bengals are a trendy pick. The Texans have the defense. Does CJ Stroud have the offensive gumption? I mean, there's a lot of different people in the AFC you could choose from. The Rams seem to be the overwhelming choice in the NFC.
Yeah, I think NFC is a little stronger. Was it NFC North? Green Bay, Chicago,
All
Detroit,
4.
Minnesota.
Yeah, all 4.
All 4 are good enough to win it. Any of the 4 can finish last. Somebody got to finish last. I'm probably going to lean towards Green Bay in that division over Detroit.
Okay.
Your former quarterback, Murray, for Minnesota, if he could play what he's capable of doing or has done in the past, Minnesota could be there too. I think a lot hinges on his play at quarterback. I'm more intrigued college football than NFL. What will Indiana do again? I'm looking for that. I'm intrigued. I want to see what Mr. Jump Around at LSU is going to do. Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
What is LSU going to do? Is Ohio State going to do it? A lot of people are picking Ohio State to win national title, or Georgia. Is it going to be? It's going to. Everybody thinks it's an SEC Big Ten team automatic, and I really don't see any other league putting a national champion out front. I don't see it.
Really? So hold on now. You don't see another league winning a national championship?
Nope.
Wait. SEC or Big Ten? You don't see any other league. So what you're saying is, and we've had some really good college football guests on the program here lately, you don't think that Phil Steele predicted right about who's going to win a national championship? You just said it out your mouth. It's going to be SEC or Big Ten. So you just said Notre Dame. You're not in a league. Go join a conference, which is going to get me to my graphic in a second. But go ahead.
Now, let me preface my words. In my mind, Notre Dame should be winning the national title every year. They get screwed around because the referees cheat.
Oh, they don't get screwed around. Stop it. You sound like a sore loser.
When they lose a game, they'll go from 5th to 89th real quick. They'll drop better quicker than any other team because people hate Notre Dame. The media hate Notre Dame.
They don't hate Notre Dame. Stop it.
I hope that Notre Dame wins the national title. They deserve it. They're the greatest football program in the history of football. They just deserve it, period. They don't cheat like the Big Ten and SEC schools do.
They cheat. Everybody's cheating nowadays. What do you mean? You can pay players.
Yeah,
what'd you make of what Curt Cignetti said here? We'll zoom in here. Curt Cignetti on the Notre Dame-Indiana series being canceled. I'd like to play Notre Dame. They ought to come to our place twice, and we'll go there once since they're not in a conference. Oh, look at Curt Cignetti. Look at Curt Cignetti. He can say whatever he wants. You know why? Because he's on top of the college football world, and you all have to bow to him. He was Elon, JMU. Look at this guy. This guy is a mastermind. Smartest guy in the room. He'll tell you it, and he knows he is.
And he is. And I'll tell you, until they lose, he can talk. And I agree. It's the one thing I agree with. Notre Dame should be in a conference, period. And they should be in the Big Ten, not ACC where they do a lot of basketball games. No, they should be in the Big Ten. There should be no independents. There's a couple other ones, but Notre Dame is, of course, the most known. Everybody should be in a conference. Football is a little different animal. They should all be in a conference. Of course, in basketball too. And I'll agree, even though I'm a Notre Dame fan. I know they have their own network money and all that. They should be in a conference, period. And if it hurts them because they're not in a conference, that's their fault. And I'll admit it out loud. So, but Notre Dame is the greatest college football program in the history of football.
The greatest. That's what you say.
What do you want Cignetti at Bama? Now let's go another year and see what happens. Cignetti will not retire as Indiana head coach. He will be making a move eventually.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We will have to see. But I do want to show here on the screen while we have a free moment, because I now have it, the over-under totals. I know you were waiting to see how this turned out last year, Ed, and you can assess the
like you did baseball. You manipulated it so that
I did not manipulate. This is all honest stuff right here, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
wish I would have kept my records because I had it written.
You go back and watch the show. Go pull it up. So this was the NFC. You see on the verdict is on the left-hand column, 25. 24 and 23 wins, and what we picked over under for the NFC. As we scroll down here, you see it was pretty even, Ed. I only beat you by one game in the NFC. So I say bravo to you. Not bad. Good job by you. You feel all right about your NFC performance?
Yeah, what was the one I lost on? Who was the team moving back down again?
Well, you see, it's the ones that are not yellow are the ones you lost on. You had the Cardinals going over. I don't know why you did it because even I took them as an under. We both lost on the Packers.
I can't believe I did.
Both lost on the Saints and the Giants. Giants were not as good as we thought. Saints were better than we thought. I don't know why I took Seattle as an under. They didn't win the Super Bowl. And we both missed on the Bucks, Washington, San Francisco Giants. So 8-8 is not the worst. 9-7 for me. You live, you deal with it. It is what it is. But let's see the NFC because that is a more important. The AFC is more important than the NFC because that is your favorite conference because you are a Raiders and Steelers fans, which is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard of. But let's go to the AFC, shall we? let's look at this monstrosity for you. I got a lot right. I was doing okay in the AFC. I don't see but only 3 yellow. Oh my gosh, you were 3-13 and I was 10-6 in the AFC. My goodness, that was
Morades. Holy.
Yeah.
What am I doing with Tennessee over 5 wins? Are you kidding?
5.5.
I picked the Jets to win more than 5 games. Oh my God. I got to go back and look. I don't believe I picked the Jets. I think you manipulated. I really do.
Go back and find a show. You can see it. So it all ended up, folks, ladies and gentlemen, as 19-13 for me, 11-21 for Coach Young. Yeah, that's how it worked. That's how it worked for last season. So I'm still waiting for my steak with Willie Gauze's steak. So, at some point we know you'll pay up. We can find you wherever you're at.
Tell you what, I got a deal coming up for you that you're going to say, what? I don't believe he's telling me this. I can't say it now, but I'm going to tell you after the show.
Okay.
And then next week, if this goes right, you're gonna have to tell everybody what happened. And you're going to say, Ed Young did it, finally did it. And it's something you've complained about many times in the past.
Yeah, I worry that this could be could get me in hot water with you. I really do. But anyhow, we've got more coming up on the program. It is 757 Sports Talk. We come back to you from one of the coaches. Again, we got Dontrell, Leonard coming up in a half hour, and it's all on the way. They're watching where, Coach?
Kova Sports TV, where we keep asking you to please like us, at least me, share, because that's how I am, and definitely subscribe.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
At Rush Soccer, our love of the game and the community we create doesn't stop when we leave the pitch or when the season ends. We are more than an individual player, team, club, or league. We are a truly global community of athletes, parents, coaches, professionals, and fans. We believe that youth sports and the pathway to a lifelong love of soccer have the power to form deep, meaningful connections that will fundamentally shape our players and those in our community. We believe that what we feel is the key to what we can achieve. Feel the pride. Feel the confidence. Feel the legacy. Feel the connection. Feel the trust. Feel the acceptance. Feel the purpose. Feel the difference. Feel the rush.
All right, here with Zecharie James, the head football coach of the Kecoughtan Warriors here after the team's preseason scrimmage against the Kempsville Chiefs. Coach, you're keeping score, I guess, which sometimes you don't really know scrimmage. You went at the end 8-7 there. What'd you like tonight from your guys? You went situational, you went game mode. What'd you see from your group?
I like how a lot of the guys responded going both ways. We got a lot of dogs on the field. We ain't got a team that's 100 deep, but we got a group that's solid, that's been putting in work for 2 years with me. Most seniors that we've had at 10. We've been 5 seniors the last 2 years. So a lot of these young guys was put into the fire early as freshmen. I love to see them grow up. They competed before in the past, give up touchdowns, deflated for the rest of the day. It's a scrimmage. Nobody's keeping score, but when you're 3-7, we're always keeping score. We want to be coming out with success every practice. Practice is a game. Practice is a score in practice. We know if we did good, it didn't do good. So that was important to us to make sure that, hey, if there's some points going on the board, that we're on the right side of those points, because that's what we're trying to move to in that win column. And to come out here with a tough Kempsville team, consistent playoff team, Coach Cherry, great coach, awesome coach. I actually met back at the AFCA coaching convention. So I know that we're getting quality to work with a team that's well put together, that's well coached. So it was good to get that good work, and we're excited about moving forward.
Yeah, and you made improvement from winless year 1, year 2, you get the 3 wins, and now I know that the P word, the playoff word has been talked about, but it's kind of your group now in year 3. One of the guys that stands out defensively, he caught a big pass, is Zecharie Cassell.
Yep,
Tell me about him, because you kind of highlighted it to me last year, and now he's starting to come into his own a little bit.
Yeah, Zecharie Cassell is definitely coming to his own. To me, best DN in the area, in our Peninsula District. And I can stand on it. Everybody knows who he is. He got to handle his business show, but everybody know who he is when he's coming. He's a guy who's been taking on a big leadership role this all season, even playing basketball all season, and still getting in the weight room, getting the work in, leading the team, because we got a young team. He's coming from a program like Oscar Smith 2 years ago, so it was an adjustment. And he seen that, okay, I was a JV guy, but now I got to be a guy, show these guys what it means to step up. And he's starting to do that. And we're loving his growth, and we're excited about his senior season.
Utilizing a couple of different quarterbacks. Zion Phillips, I believe, is a sophomore.
Yes,
Jordan House, a junior. What do you see from those two guys, and what are you hoping to see from your offense long term?
I'm hoping to see them just keep cleaning up the execution. Both of them are very dynamic. Jordan House is a guy that's an athlete. He could play out there at the wide receiver, and he could play quarterback. Zion is a guy that started all last year as a freshman, had over 800 yards passing, and we're looking for him to take that next step and really take command of the offense and turn things over, even as a sophomore. To me, you play as a freshman, you're not just a sophomore. You're moving into that junior, senior year. So that's the mentality that we have with him. That's the standard we hold him to. So we're looking for him to take that next step and really command the offense. It was a slow day offensively for us because of execution, and then obviously Kempsville is well coached, so they don't got a bunch of guys out of position. So we got to clean those things up. But both of those guys, man, we're just looking for them to take that next step.
And sure, the heat doesn't always help here with the cramps up here this time of August, and you got some road games, I think, to start the year off with.
Yes, sir. We got Booker T, tough Booker T, man. Coach Mike Privet going over there for Maury. Yeah. We know they're going to be super juiced up.
Had a lot of folks from Booker T watching tonight.
We're super juiced up about that matchup, man. I know they're going to have Booker T rocking. I actually used to live in Norfolk when I was younger, so I went to a Booker T game. I was probably 7, 8 years old, man. My mom's friend's son was in the band, so I know that community could really get that thing rocking. So we're excited about going over there and playing a tough football game.
And lastly, thank you for the time. It is a transition year in the Peninsula District. We know the champs for Phoebus. In fact, you had an assistant. It's a lot of things going on in the PD as far as player moves. So for Kecoughtan to reach some of its goals this year and be a playoff team, what will it take in your eyes?
Execution, as simple as that. Execution, guys taking care of their bodies. I'm going to say it here because I know they're going to watch this. Taking care of their bodies so that they can play those snaps that we need them to play. Play those snaps and just execute. Same thing everybody else need to do, right? Simple game, put people in the right place, and you got to execute the play. So that's it, execution.
Well, we look forward to seeing Coach James and the Warriors at Darling and beyond. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
So you heard from Zecharie James of the Kecoughtan Warriors there. Ed, get ready for year 3 at the helm. It is 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. And it is an interesting year, transition year in the Peninsula District, but you can see the excitement, hear it in his voice for Zecharie James at Kecoughtan, trying to get that thing turned around. The guy that years ago led Kecoughtan was most recently at Woodside, Alonzo Coley's now at Phoebus. Woodside has a new coach in Donnell Cherry. So you have some new coaches all over the place in the Peninsula District. I mean, you think of over the years the PD. You know, we've lost a couple of them that passed away, like Dennis Kozlowski at Bethel, Bill D at Phoebus. Mike Smith retired a few years back at Hampton. His longtime assistant Woodrow Wilson took over. But it's been sort of a transition phase for the PD. And I think as we'll do our picks next week, I think there might be a couple of new choices as far as the favorites, because it felt like for years and years and years, you just say it's Hampton Phoebus 1-2, 1-2. That might not be the case necessarily anymore.
Well, in due time, all things change. The thing that amazes me, of course, it just shows I'm getting older. Like Coach James, some of these coaches look like they still should be playing.
Right, they're young guys.
Right, if you put them in a uniform and a helmet on, they fit right in. But it's I like the excitement in Coach James' voice. As a coach, you got to bring that also. Bottom line is you got to be. Comes down, he mentioned it. It's execution. Bottom line is execution. All things got to be clicking in both offense and defense. So football is a very different monster in terms of getting everything right. But you're right, Peninsula District, for years, you'd write Hampton and then figure everything else out, and then Phoebus, and then Hampton Phoebus, and now could Bethel be up there? Could Woodside turn things around too? Warwick the last few years.
Warwick's been good, yeah. But that's the thing. Woody had the great word there, unsettled. There's been a lot of transfers within and outside of that district that the players have departed. So I think that puts it in sort of an uncertainty mode where there might not be a dominant team. However, as we saw, I think that the Beach went through that. Remember that stage after Chris Scott left Ocean Lakes, went to Catholic. Now he's at Oscar Smith, where the Beach kind of had some of that topsy-turvy unpredictability. That the PD might produce some of that, which we can only hope will give us good competitive games to talk about, not the lopsided results and the bores and the gap, the disparity between the haves and have-nots. It's widened a lot in the last few years in the 757. We'll see if that happens in the PD where it has expanded or it shrinks this particular year. But while we heard from Coach James at Kecoughtan, would you like to hear from another coach in the PD over there at Woodside?
We can do that.
We can do that. Let's talk about it with the Woodside Wolverines. They scrimmaged first Colonial. Kecoughtan scrimmage Kempsville. We caught up with Donnell Cherry of the Wolverines. They got half of it in, Ed, and then that old lightning bug came. But he talks about his team with us on Cova Sports TV.
All right, I'm here with Woodside head football coach Donnell Cherry. He gets ready for his first year at the helm of the Wolverines of Woodside and Newport News. Just finished up his preseason scrimmage tonight with first Colonial on the road to Virginia Beach. Coach, it was halted and eventually stopped due to the weather with the rain and lightning. But tell me what you're enjoying so far here as you go from the off-season summer to now get ready for game one coming up.
Yeah, just the energy we've had. We came out tonight just kind of eager and ready to get ready for some competition and to compete against a different color jersey. So I love the energy that we had coming out and how the guys kind of responded.
Sure. Let's highlight some of the names. I know you gave me a few before we got things kicked off tonight. One of which was Jahvoni Jackson. Tell me more about what you like about him and others on your team.
Yeah, Jabbar's stepping into year two as a sophomore. He had played some JV last year and got some varsity reps in with our varsity last season. So really coming into year two, being one of our key guys on the offense, and eager to see what he can contribute.
And you'll use him in what way on offense?
So he'll be a wide receiver, probably a traditional, slot wide receiver, and we'll kind of move him around.
Mm-hmm. How about some others in addition to him? I know there's a linebacker you like a whole lot too on the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyquan Tucker is really coming to his own. Looked pretty good, decent tonight. Was kind of all over the field tonight, so eager to see kind of what he's going to bring, for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Without giving away the secrets, let's begin on the offensive side of the ball in terms of what the fans can expect as far as identity and what you're going to try to establish with your offense.
Yeah, we're going to be multiple, but you're going to see him, a lot of running and pass the ball when we need to.
Mm-hmm. And defensively, another word you keep using is aggressive. What can we expect in terms of the linemen and how you'll play defensively?
Yeah, again, we'll be multiple there as well, but just be aggressive. Stopping the run is our first priority. And then giving multiple different looks on the back end.
What have you done in this offseason as you get for your first head coaching opportunity? I know you've been coaching before in the 757. But what have you done as you prepare for what's ahead for you?
Yeah, man, I've always just been a true student of the game. So just kind of studying and looking at what the Peninsula District looked like this past season and looking kind of of our opponents that we're going to face coming up and really just being ready for the opportunity.
What drew you to the job? Because Woodside's had success in the past. Danny Dodson had deep playoff runs there. Basketball teams won state titles under Coach Steph Welsh. What drew you to the Woodside situation?
Yeah, so actually I was the JV head coach last season, and just being around those guys and some of the guys that I was able to coach in the younger days in rec league. Now kind of just moving up into the high school ranks and having an opportunity to coach the same guys that that I had when they were 10, 11, 12, and 13. So that opportunity plus just being able to do this at the next level and it's one of my passions. was an opportunity I couldn't resist.
Awesome. And then we thank you for the time. Before we let you run here, you got the more scrimmage with Grafton coming up, then game 1 against Grassville. What will be the points of emphasis and things you try to really harp on as you try to get success sooner than later in year 1?
Yeah, just being disciplined, being consistent, staying true to our keys and just executing.
Go check them out, Coach Cherry and the Wolverines. They're in Newport News. Thank you so much. All the best.
I appreciate it.
So you heard from Donnell Cherry of the Woodside Wolverines there, Ed, as they look to make some noise coming up this year in the Peninsula District. First game September 5th against Grassfield. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us all through our social media channels. 757 Sports saying it's a shame was canceled for intercloud lightning over North Carolina with no rain or lightning. You got to listen, as Ed can attest to. You have trainers, you have folks from CHKD, you have people that are the ones that are there to keep you safe and sound. And if they tell you got to come off the field because of heat index or there's lightning, you got to abide by the rules. There are certain rules and protocols in place that you have to abide by, and sometimes it might feel unfortunate, but you got to do what you got to do, as they say.
Yeah, the minute lightning is seen or envisioned to be there soon, it's a no-brainer. You're off the field. It's just the way it is. I have no problem with that. Heat index, I have no problem with that.
You would if you were a basketball coach and lightning affected you indoors. You'd be kicking and screaming and hollering. That's how you would be. That's just because you're not a football coach, it doesn't bother you.
No, shoot. If we have lightning indoors, that'd be the first one back outdoors. So when we get hit by the lightning,
right? But I'm saying you'd be grumpier than you already are. And by the way, if you're worried about it now, at least they got a half in, which was better than nothing. You'll hear from DJ Dinsmoor coming up from First Colonial too. Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week, there's all a better than 50% chance of thunderstorm and precipitation, and so that it could affect more scrimmages next week before we get things going in earnest with the first set of games. That August 27th. Got an interesting game, by the way, a Peninsula District, out-of-district game of note. Phoebus with Coach Coley begins its era at Darling Stadium against Western Branch. They go across the water. Remember, that years ago, that game would have been oh my gosh, we can't miss that game, Western Branch Phoebus. Still an interesting game. It's not as, eye-popping as it might have been back, 15, 20 years ago. And you have some other games of note that Friday, too, around the 757, three-time defending state champ Maury will be in action against Mallard Creek that Friday night over there at Powhatan Field in Norfolk. So a couple of the headline games there. But what do you make there of the PD in general? I mean, it looks like it is a league where we talked about this a few moments ago. It feels like there could be a couple of surprises and upsets along the way. I don't know that we look at the PD the way we will with the Beach, Eastern and Southeastern, where we sort of have a definite favorite outlined. At least we do with Green Run and the Beach and Maury in the Eastern, because Maury's on a run of 3 straight state titles and Green Run's on a run of 60-plus wins in the district.
Yeah, the Peninsula District, some moving around is going to happen. And speaking of moving around, a lot of things that in high school sports that really make things change is of kids moving around. Yeah. Probably more so in basketball because you only have 5 on a court.
Football, no, I disagree with that. I disagree with that entirely.
Well, you can disagree because you've been wrong in the past.
No. Do you get 10 transfers on one team in basketball? There's a team in the 757 that's got 10 transfers. 10.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's more guys in football than basketball.
Right. Transferring in basketball, you can get a kid on a basketball court, one kid, make a major difference quick. Football, unless it's maybe a stellar quarterback or a running back or a receiver you get the ball to, it takes more than one kid in football to make that big of a difference. Again, Allen Iverson now, back when Iverson played football, he
generally
made a difference.
Speaking, if your argument is one transfer off of a team can cripple a team more in basketball than football, okay. But we've seen some schools that have lost 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and that equates to like 2 really good studs in basketball. I mean, I don't see the,
Well, again, and people will say, well, how come this team went up or this team went down? The first thing I'm looking at is transfers in and out. What happened there? And a lot of times people will say a lot of things it's more your time is coming, and all of a sudden, boom, you're good. Well, wait a minute. How come certain teams are winning first or second place 12 years in a row? I mean, that's what, 3 graduating classes. How is that possible? And again, you got to run on athletes. And as I said, you can pick up some key transfers. You'll stay towards the top. I look at it in sports. It's more important to have really good players, and I'm emphasizing all that in capital letters, for sustaining winning, than it is to have a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have players. That's the bottom line. You've got to have players. You could have a great coach whose philosophy is tremendous, the system they run is tremendous, but he doesn't have athletes, they're going to be in trouble. It's that simple. And it looks like the Peninsula District is about to make some, maybe undergo a change. Maybe Phoebus will drop a little bit. Hampton is still there. I think Bethel, Warwick, as we said in the past, Woodside has always had athletes. Danny Johnson there did a good job too. It's just a matter of you having those athletes, and then things got to click, because you can have athletes, you can have some really good players, but the mix isn't good. They don't play well together. A lot of the negativity that we talk about in coaching, selfishness, not playing hard, not playing together, rear its ugly head, and then you're in trouble. Again, we'll wait and see what happens on that situation.
Well, and you mentioned about players departing. One of the programs in the area that's certainly had a lot of success lately. It was a big turnaround job over there in the Beach District. You go from the peninsula to the beach. That is over there at Kempsville High School, where Daryl Cherry inherited a program that was on the longest losing streak in the state. They've been a perennial playoff team year after year after year. And now they've had some guys that left the program in the offseason, but they're still looking to be a factor in the beach. And we caught up with Coach Cherry after his team's first scrimmage just the other night against Kecoughtan. We hear it now on Cova Sports TV and 757 Sports Talk.
Oh, yeah. All right, here with Kempsville head football coach Daryl Cherry as he gets ready for year number 8 at the helm of the Kempsville Chiefs. My goodness, time flies when you're having fun, as his team just concluded a preseason scrimmage with the Kecoughtan Warriors. Coach, does it feel like you're getting ready for year number 8 here at Kempsville High School for you?
Like you said, when you're having fun and the numbers just add up, you know what I mean? So it's fun out here.
A lot of playoff runs here. We mentioned, I know early on in your tenure, you had the longest losing streak in the state. Now you guys are a perennial playoff team every year. It's a different kind of year here at Kempsville as far as a lot of new young faces. What do you see in terms of the work ethic and how the summer off-season program's going for you?
Well, they've been putting in a lot of hard work. I mean, they've been working hard, getting the time in, getting on football field practice and stuff like that. Yeah, we've got a lot of young guys, but they're coming along, player development, coach development, and doing pretty good.
Hot out here, kids cramping up, heat index type situations we have all the time every year in August. There's nothing new there.
Yeah.
It was really of a defensive struggle much like. Then you had a big catch from Z Hall for a 50-yarder. Tell me about him and kind of his potential in your eyes.
He's an explosive kid. He's going to be able to get the ball in his hands and do great things for us. So we got to get him a chance to get in the space and make things happen for us. He's also playing both ways, so he's also that guy on the defense side of the ball for us too.
Take me through kind of the coaching philosophy of when you have nowadays kids that have to go both ways, and how much what you're trying to do in terms of a scrimmage, because you don't want to show your hand too much what you're going to do, but also you want to keep kids fresh, don't you?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is, I mean, if you look around, just football with numbers as a whole is decreasing. So a lot of teams going to have to play players both ways. So biggest thing is protect them, make sure they're getting in shape, make sure they're staying hydrated, and keeping them healthy.
For you and your coaches coming into scrimmage, what was kind of the biggest question for all y'all coming in, and then it kind of take me through what you do evaluation-wise as you get ready for scrimmage too, and what kind of your questions are for your kids going into that?
Well, the biggest thing is trying to find our identity. You know what I mean? With a lot of young guys that we have that are playing, just to see, where we are. I mean, are they able to make plays? Just looking for that effort. They're relentless to the football and defense. Offense, are we, doing what the coach asks us to do as far as holding our blocks, catching the ball, just doing the little things to get us better.
And go back to a few years back when you had that group with Karan Boyd and Naquan Washington Pearson and the trench mob up front. It feels like you guys win football games by establishing line of scrimmage. Is that going to be kind of the goal this year, to kind of win up front and that'll give you a chance to win games?
Well, the biggest thing is be able to run the football and play good defense. That's been the Kempsville motto. So we're going to continue to work on that, as far as develop those young guys to still have that, that trench mob up front, be able to move the ball by running the ball, protecting the quarterback, giving the simple passes, and the defense just fly around and just make tackles.
Couple more for you. What do you have to clean up from tonight specifically? Anything kind of pinpoint?
Just a little bit offensively, just make sure our chemistry is good, and defensively, just make sure we communicate, make sure we're making right checks and stuff like that. We had a good effort overall. So right now we just got to, just make sure that we're doing the little things. Just the finishing plays.
Beach District has changed a lot from your first year to now. Give me your thoughts on where you guys will fit in and what will it take for Kempsville to keep this success rolling.
What the part is bit, time will tell. And I mean, right now, I can control what Kempsville does. So right now, we're just going to try to go 1-0 each week. So right now, we're just going to work on our next scrimmage for next week and get ready for our first game against Princess Anne.
There you go. Check him out on Friday night. Coach Chair and the Chiefs. Thank you so much. All the best.
I appreciate you.
So that was Daryl Cherry of the Kempsville Chiefs. They scrimmage Great Bridge this week before they get it rolling with game number 1 of their season, Ed, which will be coming up on August the 28th against Princess Anne. They followed up with Tallwood, Lansdowne, Cox that was scrolling a moment ago on the ticker. So we welcome you back here to 757 Sports Talk and Cova Sports TV. But he's now a veteran at this thing. And as you know, if your roster turnover is, significant, be it from graduation, transfer, or a combination, sometimes you might have to do some things, tweak some of your system and fit your personnel and fit your system to the personnel you have. And I think that's going to be the case for Kempsville this year, to try to be in that mix where they can get, maybe they're not viewed as one of the top seeds in Region 5 this year, but to try to squeeze in the door there and be a dangerous team when the playoffs do arrive come November. That's sort of the view of them. But a lot of young guys, and then you hope to reap the rewards of those guys as they build later on. Some of those freshmen, sophomores, they get their feet wet for the long term.
Yeah, and it's you made a point there. You lose players, a lot of players, you got to tweak your system. Mm-hmm. And I think we've asked this with some of the coaches we've had come on lately in football is, okay, everybody has a system they want to run, but is it predicated on having those kind of players to run that, i.e. football wing T? You got to have a certain type of athletes to run the wing T. You just don't come in and say we're running the wing T and you don't really have the athletes for it. Or maybe you come in with the idea we're throwing 30 times a game. Well, you better have a heck of a line that can block, quarterback who's patient, doesn't have happy feet, and receivers who can catch in a crowd, not when the ball's thrown just right to them, but can stretch out and catch. Or you can't run that kind of an offense. So a lot of it is predicated on the type of athletes you have to run a system. In basketball, everybody wants to run the fast break. We're up and down. We're pressing full court. Do you have those kind of athletes? Because if you don't, that's not really going to work. As somebody once said, a Clydesdale has never won the Kentucky Derby. All right. So you got to understand what you have, and then you got to figure out, okay, well, what system is going to work with that? We normally say that, but a lot of times coaches come in with the round peg and a square hole idea. I run this, and damn it, we're going to make this work. Well, if you don't have those athletes, that coach is going to be awful frustrated if it doesn't work. And you're going to have the athletes frustrated, which means you may not win many games to begin with. So you really have to kind of check out what your personnel is and then decide how it works. Unless you're very basic. If you're very basic, then you can play some multiple things with your athletes, because then you can do it. That's what I tend to like, is to be very basic, and then you can add certain things based on your changing personnel as the years go by.
Yeah, for sure. That's generally how it works. But the beach this year, 11 schools, always is 11 schools, but this is the first year in a while. It happened a few years back, if you remember, I'm thinking maybe 7-8 years, where Ocean Lakes and Cox, I think it was, or it might have been Princess Anne, were allowed to play a couple of games out of district with, I think, Maury and Granby. And yeah, I think it was PA rather, not Cox, but it was Ocean Lakes for sure. I remember covering an Ocean Lakes Maury game. This year, Green Run's going to play that game with Huff out of North Carolina. And coming up in a little bit, we'll hear from Brandon Williams. He'll address that opportunity for his squad. They were involved in a tri-scrimmage with Dinwiddie and Oscar Smith, two of the better teams around in the state of Virginia. Of course, Dinwiddie's won a couple of state titles. We know Oscar Smith having won, 6 state titles I think they've won now? Yeah, 4 under Chris Scott and 2 under Richard Morgan, who, by the way, is back in Georgia. I got told this week, I don't know, it's not Richard Morgan. He stepped down from the schools in Florida. He's now an assistant coach at Commerce High School this year. How about that? Not a head coach. Can you see Richard Morgan, an assistant coach? He'll be a head coach again next year somewhere, I'm sure, but he was down in Florida. He, of course, coached at Marietta for a while there and won a championship there. But he's now an assistant coach at Commerce High School. How about that? In the Peach State.
And if I'm not mistaken, Commerce rings a bell. They're usually a pretty good program in Georgia.
Might be, yeah. I'm not as well versed in them as I am the Virginia State teams.
I think Commerce is one of the better teams in Georgia.
You'll get a kick out of this, though, Ed. Oscar Smith's starting a freshman quarterback. So, too, is Dinwiddie. And I've counted up. Remember, we had Deep Creek Andre Twine on a week or two ago, freshman quarterback. There's about 5 or 6 teams that are going to be starting freshman quarterbacks.
It's amazing.
It is pretty amazing. But I don't think the learning curve is as big as it would have been years ago. And I guess my reasoning on that is, now you do so much with off season. Every sport has become, we talked about this at the Virginia Beach Sports Club Jamboree this week. It's almost specialization where you're spending year round on your sport, be it football, basketball, baseball, you name it. So a kid that gets thrown into the fire at 13, 14 years of age in late August, game 1 against fill in the blank, he's a freshman, but he's gotten some quality reps in practice and been in different 7-on-7s. I'm sure camp circuit already. Some of these quarterbacks aren't as wide-eyed, starry-eyed when they get in there as maybe they would have been years ago without some of those opportunities in different events or camps or you name it that they would go to get themselves prepped and ready for what's in store.
I agree. Back in the day when you only practice in season, you would not see very many freshmen starting a quarterback. That would be extremely rare. But now with the opportunity to really practice year-round with certain dead periods built in where you can't do anything with the team, you could still be working on your craft individually. You can see that. I can see where any sport for any particular position, you'll see that, especially if that kid has ability and he's being coached, maybe mentored one-on-one. You can see that. It doesn't surprise me. And a lot of the freshman quarterbacks we have seen are pretty good, are pretty special guys. Like, wow, okay, I can see why he's starting. And if you follow their careers, most of them have gone on to the D1 level.
Well, and I go back to the Green Run because the guy that's now their quarterback that came from Phoebus, Maricus Banks, threw a game-winning touchdown pass as a freshman in the state championship for Phoebus that beat Salem, not of Virginia Beach, but of Salem out west. Now he's going to be playing Salem of Virginia Beach, one of their first games in the district. They played Tallinn in the opener. So he ended up winning a state championship his freshman year on a game-winning touchdown pass late in the fourth quarter. So he's now the QB1 in the Beach, which has some pretty darn good quarterbacks. He's one of them now, Green Run. Landon Curls at Salem coming back from injury. I look at Anthony Turner from Lansdowne, who's a junior, who's already got more than a dozen offers, including the aforementioned Lane Kiffin of LSU calling up, trying to get him to land that eagle, if you will, in Baton Rouge. And again, so there's a lot of pretty good quarterbacks in the 7-5-7, especially in the Beach. And just across the, Lonnie Andrews is hurt for Oscar Smith, which has thrusted Justice Culler, ninth grader, into action for Oscar Smith. But Andrews, who's a UVA commit, going to sit out the year with the injury. You still have, remember just last year, Indian River won a region championship, beating Green Run with the freshman Lord Malik Haru. And boy, was he good. He's now a sophomore. So it's a good mix of young quarterbacks. Maury won its third straight state title with Damo Everett, a sophomore, now going to be a junior this year. Older brother with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dalen Everett. So it's a good mix of older and younger quarterbacks across the area that kind of harkens us back to the glory years when you had the Aaron Brookses, the Michael Vicks, the Ronald Currys, a lot of the big name quarterbacks, the Aaron Sparrows of the world. And even into the 2000s, we had that run with the Ryan Pond at Western Branch, the E.J. Manuel at Bayside, the Tyrod Taylor at Hampton, the Taj Boyd at Phoebus, the Philip Simses at Oscar Smith, Casey Turner at Great Bridge, who now coaches at Princess Anne of Virginia Beach. So it all kind of comes full circle with these quarterbacks. They end up, we see some of them that are stars, end up coaching. Manuel's case, he's on TV. Makes for a lot of interesting storylines, that's for sure.
Granted, absolutely. We want to see out of this freshman group who's going to make the name for themselves and follow along the lines of some of those guys you just mentioned.
Yeah, we're going to hear from something coming up in a little bit. Scheduled to have Dontrell, Leonard on with us here in just a little bit as well. It is 757 Sports Talk, and they're watching where, Coach?
Hey, man, it's Cova Sports TV. There's no place better. Like, share, subscribe.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Kova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit kovapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Already here with Coach Brandon Williams of the Green Run Stallions. They just concluded a tri-scrimmage with the two-time defending Class 6 state champion Oscar Smith Tigers and Class 4 perennial power Dinwiddie. You guys have factored in Class 5 year after year for your coach. And tell me what you learned from your team tonight here in this competition, because I know it's always good to get some of the best on best in this type of setting.
We always look forward to this scrimmage with both of these programs, these top-tier programs in the state. Of course, Coach Mills has been doing it for years, and Oscar Smith has been doing it for years also. So it's a great atmosphere when we get out here together. But we learned a lot, offensively and defensively, to clean up next week and to finish off camp on the right note.
A lot of talented athletes. When you get the Stallions, Tigers, and Generals together, you could make the case arguably the best guy on the field in terms of scoring it was Tajon Palmer for you. Wide receiver, defensive back, found the end zone a couple of times. He's already made his college commitment to help me out here, Elon. So, I mean, he's had a bunch of Division I offers. Tell me about what you're expecting from him this year as a two-way playmaker, right?
Right, he's a leader. He's been here, a four-year program kid. He grew up in our program. His mom works here in our building. But, you know, he's set for a big senior year, and we're definitely going to lean on him hard on both sides of the ball.
I think it's interesting always the quarterback position is the limelight, whether it's Green Run River, but they have freshmen at Oscar Smith, freshmen at Dinwiddie. You have a newcomer who's not a freshman. He won a state championship as a freshman at Phoebus, but Marika Spanks for you. Well, he throws a good ball, and I think he's probably going to be a joy for the coaches.
Oh, no question. He's a joy to watch. He's a great kid, and the sky's the limit for him, and we're looking forward to big things from him. And like I said, we're not going to put too much pressure on him, but he knows what's at stake.
I know a couple of your guys you kept out from precautions, injuries. I know that last week when you scrimmaged Manchester as well, another good 804 team that's always in the hunt. Yeah. But it feels like the hallmark of your team this year is going to be that defensive front with Junius Clay, with Quavon Cleveland, those guys up front causing havoc, right?
No question. If we can control up front with controlling the run and definitely putting pressure on opposing quarterbacks, you know, the sky's the limit with our athletes in the secondary to make plays on the ball.
Mm-hmm. And then for you this year, too, I think the other thing that's interesting is that you have a group of veterans, but also some new faces. I mean, another guy we can't forget about is he's the son of your defensive coordinator, Tayron Whitehead, going to William & Mary. He's just one of those cerebral guys back there, isn't he?
No question. He's a leader. He's been in the 4-year program, guy that grew up in our program. He knows our defense in and out. And literally, you know, sometimes him and Terrell argue back and forth for what it should be called, but he knows that Big White Head is the play caller, and he knows him to follow lead, and he's following his footsteps, his dad's footsteps tremendously. So
Sure.
so proud of him.
Last two for you. What did you take from scrimmage 1 with Manchester to scrimmage 2 from Dinwiddie? Be it the pros, the cons, the pluses, the minuses. What is kind of your takeaway, the early blush of it from those two?
Like I say, you can't dwindle too much on early scrimmages. We still got so much to work on, so much to get better on. But we know what we can do and what we can't do. And like I said, we're looking forward to our interior play this year on both sides of the ball, where we can run the ball and also stop the run at the same sentence. So we're looking forward to those.
Yeah, I also want to shout out Saleh Robinson, another guy from your players, your coaches. They're all shouting out him throughout the night, making big plays for you. Lastly, it's a neat year for Green Run because you finally get the opportunity to play an out-of-district game against Huff from North Carolina. I've asked a couple of your players about this. They're excited. They get big smiles on their faces. Tell me about, for you now as a coach, for something that you publicly talked about, what's this going to do for your team on your journey to trying to win championships?
We're definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, we're not looking past anybody on our schedule. It's the 5th game on our schedule, but like I said, once we get to that week, it's definitely looking forward to getting outside the district, getting the kids outside of our normal area where we play at, and playing the out-of-state team, and especially top 25 team in the nation. That says a lot. And there's a good ball program down there. We're looking forward to the opportunity to play them.
Well, business to handle for the business trip to the Tar Heel State for Brandon Williams and the Stallions. Thank you so much. All the best.
Appreciate it, Matt.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome you back to 757 Sports Talk right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. You heard from Coach Brandon Williams of the Green Run Stallions, and we will be joined here in just a moment by, I just saw he popped off. I know he's having some internet difficulties. We'll try to get him back on here. Dontrell Leonard, who was getting ready to join us here on the program of the Bayside Marlins to talk about their season coming up. Oh, there he is. He's back with us, I think, now on the stage. So we'll bring in on the program. He is the head football coach in his first year at the helm of the Bayside Marlins. We say good morning to Coach Dontrell Leonard. Coach, you got us out there?
Oh yeah, I have you. How you doing? How everyone doing this morning?
We're doing well. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming on the program. Let's dive into it. Football season it's here. You're getting ready for, I know you just had a scrimmage that you had finished up with the Lake Taylor Titans, defending Class 3 state champs the other day. How are you feeling about this group and your new situation, which we'll dive into? You left Churchland after 8 straight playoff trips there in Portsmouth, and now you're the head man of the Marlins there in Virginia Beach.
Oh yeah, we have a good team here at Bayside. A lot of kids return. Wish it was a couple more that we had returned that were seniors. Probably the most athletic and fast team that I've ever been a part of as coaching, as my 20-some years of coaching. And we definitely have some pieces. We're just trying to keep everybody healthy. I will say this has been these kids' most brutal all season ever, for them.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, it's been a whirlwind for those kids over there. Certainly, you guys are putting them through the hard work. But going back to the terrible situation, they lose a playoff game on a Friday night to Salem, and then the passing of John White, longtime coach there. Respect, I know a good coaching comrade of yours that you've talked with over the years. Give me your thought process as first you heard about that, and then when the opportunity for you to go through the process, interviewing and become the head coach at Bayside, what was going through your whole mind, and what you were kind of weighing in terms of the options for you?
Oh man, it was an unfortunate event, that transpired, with the death of Coach White. We don't want to see that happen to, anyone ever, period. But again, my wife always was in my ear my 9 years at Portsmouth. Is like, hey, come back to the beach, and she knew, and closest friends knew that Bayside was the job that I said that I'll come back for. It was jobs opening before, got calls, even had some people reach out to my wife to see was I interested. I just turned them all down. And then when Bayside came open, I was like, hey, this opportunity, I wasn't really even thinking about it like that. I went to the ceremony, John White ceremony, pay my respects, condolences, at Bayside. And, I was kind of sought out in the crowd through some Bayside some Bayside people to gauge my interest, and that's how that began.
For sure. Before I let my partner, Coach Young, here jump in with you, Dontrell, I want to ask you too. We've talked about it over the years, certainly mentors for you, and you played for the late Tommy Riemann. You've coached with Robert Jackson. We brought up the other day at the Sports Club Jamboree, but we haven't talked a whole lot about your wife. She's an administrator in Virginia Beach, correct?
Yes.
Tell us about what role she's played in just your coaching journey, if you will.
Just support. She's really supported me throughout my coaching journey. When we both met in '06, I was coaching, and at that time, she wasn't a principal. She was a science teacher, and she was also coaching. So, coming from that perspective, she understood, and then she got out of coaching and became an admin. And again, she just continued to support me throughout my years of being a coach and transitioning from being a coordinator to a head coach.
Really cool. And she's a principal where at, by the way?
She's at Lansdowne Middle.
Lansdowne Middle. Good deal. We're talking with Dontrell Leonard. He's the new head football coach of the Bayside Marlins, previously the head football coach of the Church and Truckers, but he's no stranger to the beach, having been an assistant on some winning staffs at Ocean Lakes and Salem. Our guest here on 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Hey, Coach, congrats on the position change over to Bayside. You touched on it. Passing away, a really tough moment. When I heard it, I was like shocked because I didn't know John real well, but well enough to talk to him different times about football and in coaching in general. Really decent dude, and I know the kids over there loved him. So you mentioned about it's a little tougher time to do it. Now, as you come into that though, is it tougher to put in your system? Matt and I were talking about system earlier when coaches, especially in football, you have a system you want to play. Is it predicated on the players you have, or, hey, this is my system. I know this works. I've got to get these kids to play my system. How do you at Bayside approach that now, especially under the situation you're coming into?
So when it comes to our system, I speak offensively first. We don't force anything on the kids that they can't do. So therefore, there be plays and concepts that shelved for a year or two, a couple of years, based on the players' ability and what they can do. So there be concepts that I haven't utilized since Salem. When I had my receiver core consisted of Kyrie Burton, Kwame Barnes, and James Church, those guys. I still have some concepts that I haven't had since them, but now I can bring back out at Bayside with these kids, and that's what have been done, and they have actually learned it. Again, we don't huddle. Is all signal based, whether it's formation, plays, motions, all those types of things. So it's signal based, and again, these kids have learned it, and we had a great outing in our first scrimmage. Offensively, playing a very tough Hank Sawyer, Lake Taylor team. Everybody knows it's very, very difficult because of their style of play to even, put up 43 points, against them, which is, very tough. But defensively, we implement our scheme defensively, where we have had, some minor setbacks, just due to some of our kids, and our system was a little more complex than what those kids were used to. But again, we're fighting those small battles and overcoming them, and putting the kids in place, and it goes back to the scrimmage when it got down to the second half. Our kids, they made those plays in the second half.
Ed? Coach, the other thing I always ask the football coaches, we have them on because it intrigues me. If I were a football coach, I often wonder what I would do. You have a lot of players. And I know you got to have your best kids on the field as much as possible. But in football, you have offense, defense, special teams. It's 3 different areas. Do you play a kid, if he's that good and he makes a difference, do you play him on all 3, or are you more under the idea that we have got to get as many kids out here in all these, 33 positions, you might as well say, and try to use as much as you can, or is that watering the system down a little bit?
Well, those situations vary, and it all depends on who the kid is. Like for instance, my running back, that I have now, that I inherited at Bayside, and Flash Brown. He's a kid that he's awful special teams. What he can do is return, and after that he has no more bearings, on special teams. So again, it's all on the kid. And we talk about Marquise Miles Jr., who's an outstanding inside linebacker, and he just plays defense. So he's a kid that's a candidate to play all special teams because he possesses the skill set. Then you look at Isaiah Newton. He's a kid that possesses many skill set, plays multiple positions on both sides, and also can play multiple positions, on special teams. But we run a 2 to a 2.5 man depth chart, as well. So we have to monitor how we substitute, and I don't want to have a weak special teams. So therefore, we try to balance starters versus. So I don't really do 1s and 2s. I mostly do 1A, 1B, and then there's the 2s. So kind of monitor on special teams our 1As and our 1Bs to kind of like balance them, put up there, with some of those 2s, that's in that that's on that depth chart.
Stellar quarterback back in your day in Newport News, then at Norfolk State, and you've developed some good ones too with Bucky Hodges coming to mind from Salem, and Brandon Hillman at Churchland, who's done some really nice things at the next level too. Give me a thought on what's the quarterback position look like for the Marlins, and also some of the key players. I know you bring back some guys. You just mentioned them: Flash, Kyron Brown, and Boogie, the nickname Jair Collins. We interviewed those guys after the big win over Salem in the regular season last year. Tell me more about those 2 guys, the QB spot, and some other key performers for this year.
Boogie Collins, he's gonna be a big one, shutdown corner for us this year at Bayside. Be great for him because he could partially potentially shut down one side of the field. Kyron Flash Brown. I mean, hey, like I said, I'm just getting here and just watching him run. Just watching him run the other night, he just, so smooth, change the direction, and, his speed, which elevates him. Again, we talked about Isaiah Newton, and he's a multiple position guy for us on both sides of the ball. He's going to be a big contributor. So we have a sophomore quarterback this year with Makai Morris, and he has progressed and developed, at a rapid pace, this all season. Not saying that he's a top upper echelon, but he's a guy that, you're gonna know about for the next 3 years. And he will be up there with those guys.
Fantastic. We chat with Dontrell Leonard, the head football coach of the Bayside Marlins. Their season opener, Ed, coming up here at the end of August, the 28th against First Colonial. Then they have the bye week, travel to Ocean Lakes, and then their home opener is on September 18th against the Kellum Knights. Coach Young?
Hey, Coach, another thing I kind of wonder, somebody like yourself can probably be expertise in answering it. You coached, in the Eastern District, and we know what those type of teams are. Now you're coming to the beach. You had to assess your decision to take the Bayside job based on, whatever, which is pertinent to yourself. How do you compare maybe the Beach District with Eastern District? Is there much of a difference? Is there something you see as a coach who's been on those sidelines that definitely is a big difference?
Well, I mean, there's only one, to me, in my opinion, there's only one big glaring difference is the Beach, you don't play, out of district out of district games, whereas in the Eastern District we had to play 3 out of district games, and there'd be a situation where myself and the ADs, that I had at church, we kind of got together. They kind of let me do that schedule, my non-district game, which all can be headaches, because when you call a coach, that coach cannot give you, a yes or a no. He has to run it by his AD, his admin, and then once it's out of the head coach's hands, then the admin ADs kind of get involved and kind of do the contractual thing. And once we lock that in, then we have to do it 2 more times. So it's kind of draining, scheduling non-district games versus the beach. 11 schools, so you just play a beach district schedule, and you don't have to worry about that component. So I think that's the one biggest glaring difference.
I want to get your quick take on it before I let Ed finish up with you here, Coach, and we thank you for coming on the program. I'm a big proponent, I know Ed is too, of letting the beach and also the Bay Rivers now, which is closest district schedule. I'd like to see you all get that opportunity like Green Run's getting this year to play Huff out of North Carolina. Would you be in favor of that as a coach, to get a chance to have an out-of-district game on your schedule?
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind having out of district game. It kind of it's kind of something different. As far as the travel, the teams, you might not. Everybody here in the beach. The beach close knitted. To be honest, so everybody kind of knows everyone, and we can get to everyone's school within a 7-8 minute span from the next school. So yeah, having playing, out of district games, like Grafton, and when I first got to Churchland, and Bethel, played Henrico, played Grassfield. So it's kind of like different dynamics, to that as well. So yeah, I wouldn't mind playing out of district game.
Good deal. Well, I know you don't have as big of a building job as you did when you got to church. I remember those days, Coach, and you do too, when you did that Smithfield team camp, and it was a tough sledding, but you got that thing turned around, 8 straight playoff trips there at Churchland. Bayside isn't really on as tough a time, so I feel like it's and Ed probably agrees with me. It's a situation that it's not one of those downtrodden programs like sometimes coaches end up taking when they leave a job. Ed, you know about that in basketball. You've gone from some jobs to take a job and ends up being one of those. It's a rebuilding effort. I don't think it's going to be as long a process for him at Bayside this year.
Well, but it's true. I mean, Coach has been around. He knows what in taking that Bayside job. He knows what's there for him. But Dontrell, the key thing, and you kind of touched on it. You said at Churchland, the AD allowed you to get your own games, and some coaches aren't. Well, your AD at Churchland, he was too busy worried about other things. That's probably why he allowed you to do it. Mike Whittington, a good friend of ours, I got to get on him. And I know you played at Norfolk State with him. So now that he's not your, quote, boss as AD over in Lakeland, you got a crazy Mike Whittington story that the world needs to hear.
Is that school related or just anything?
You have permission for anything. We got to keep it clean, but it needs to be told, because Whittington goes around and telling everybody he's perfect. He was perfect in college. Never did anything crazy. He's the greatest AD in the world.
It sounds like you want dirt on Mike, is what it sounds like, Ed. You want dirt on Mike.
I keep it football related for the most part in college. Coming from high school, it was a different whirlwind when, you go to high school, you get used to the tour days, but it might take you a year or so to get used to the tour days. Because we coming from Little League where we practice 2.5 hours and then you go home. But I never knew tour days in high school was 7-8 hours. We practice from 2 to 8. And it's just like, man, you sitting there like, I don't know if I want to do this. So, we get to college our first year at Norfolk State, and we actually practiced 3 times a day. We had actually 3 practices a day for the whole month of August, leading up to the Virginia State game. So Mike Witt, we drove to the football facility, had a gruesome practice. I mean, one of those types of practices where we just land in the locker room after practice, can't move, an hour bypass, we all get each other up, go to the calf, get something to eat. Now we walk to the dorm like crazy fools because now we done wasted so much time trying to get up and recuperate. We going back. We get ready to go back to the football facility, and Mike Whittington looking for his car, and he looking for his car and can't find it. And ended up calling the police and saying his car was stolen, but the whole time it's sitting at the football facility. That's how drained we were.
So he couldn't find his own car.
He couldn't find his own car, and he's at the football facility after he done called the police to report it stolen.
He must have been knocked out from that long grueling. He took too many hits without wearing his helmet.
Oh no, we had helmets on. Was it full gear? And this also was after we had a 12-minute run too. We had like that was our conditioning test, the 12-minute run. And if you ain't make that 12-minute run that day, which none of us did as freshmen, we had to come back the next morning at 5 a.m. With our strength and conditioning coach to do it again until we pass it.
Now, did Mike pass it the first time, or he was there at 5 a.m.?
Hey, that's where Mike Whittington received the name the Nature Boy Ric Flair. So in wrestling back when the Nature Boy used to get Irish whipped to the turnbuckle,
yes,
and then he stumbled to the middle of the ring and then just fall flat on his face. Mike Witt did the exact same thing on the track at Norfolk State because we did not pass that 12-minute run.
Oh, it's too good. That's priceless.
If people have not seen that, when Ric Flair was a great actor as a wrestler, he would get whipped into the ropes, turn around, take 2 steps, and fall flat on his face. It's one of the funniest things to see in wrestling. So now that you said it, I'm envisioning Mike doing that, and I'm about ready to lose it. I can see.
Yes, Mike did that at Norfolk State because we did finish that 12-minute run. And he almost did it again our junior year when we had some new coaches and they introduced the 300-yard shuttle. And see that 300-yard shuttle we did at Norfolk State at that time, that put some you get heavy legs, your thigh area, you can't feel it. Mike got the trembling, he got the going, the arms got the going. We all started yelling, "Woo!" And if it wasn't for the guardrails around the track, Mike would have hit that thing again.
Well, that is fantastic. That's a good one, Ed. I think you got your money's worth there. Well, Coach, this was great having you on the program. We look forward to chatting with you again after some Marlins victories here in the future. We'll also get some stories from you on the late Tommy Reedman and Coach Jackson. And also, we got you got a young pup out there. Your son's a up and coming football player to watch out for. So all the best to you guys this year. Like I told all the coaches of the day, we wish you all win them all, but also stay healthy. And we'll keep in touch. Have a good weekend.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Good luck to you, Coach.
Dontrell Leonard, the new head football coach of the Bayside Marlins, did a heck of a job turning around Churchland's program, and now getting ready for year number 1 at the helm over there at Bayside High School. Neat story there on Mike Whittington. It almost sounds like your story, Ed, when you lost your car coming out of upscale. Oh wait, that wasn't you, was it? Was that you coming out of upscale? Was your car? You called the police?
No, I know where my car was at all times, no matter where I'm at. I've never been inebriated, never been worn out from running 300-yard shuttles that I wouldn't know where my car is. So. I'm good, but we got something on Witt now that we can.
You do. Now, what is this? What is this you got on the back on your whiteboard over there? It says "ban fool in the pool." Oh no, we don't want to ban fool in the pool. What he loves, and all of our loyal viewers love that.
No, I've had some people tell me again this week, Coach, what's the latest on banning fool in the pool? I said, we've got some lawyers working on it. We're trying to see somehow he keeps getting it put on there. We're trying to get it out of there. So. I thought saw a whiteboard in here. I said, you know what? Let me remind people. I'll put it up on the board.
I know you got to get rolling here. We're going to take another commercial break. I do want you to hear this message, this PSA that was sent to me. We have a couple more football coaches clips you're going to hear from before we sign off here. Billy Mills of Dinwiddie, DJ Dinner of First Colonial, and Jahvoni Simmons of Oscar Smith. But we'll take a quick timeout and come back with more, including this PSA right here on 757 Sports Talk. And they're watching where, Coach?
They're watching right here on Cova Sports TV. A lot of them like us, a lot of them share, but we need all of them to subscribe.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
All right, with Coach Jahvoni Simmons, the Oscar Smith Tigers getting ready for their season here in 2026, a tri-scrimmage concluding with the likes of Green Run and Dinwiddie. Two-time defending state champs, Coach. Unfortunate situation in the offseason with the injury to your decorated quarterback, Lonnie Andrews III, the UVA commit. So I know the mood coming in was a little bit somber. It's been that way for some, but you guys finished tonight. A lot of smiles, a lot of energy. Do you feel like you made progress tonight with this scrimmage?
I feel like we took a big step forward as a team this year. With 4 returning starters, we got a lot of young guys just stepping in, first time playing, a lot of guys first time playing varsity, a lot of guys, first time being in that Smith blue and gold. So, these guys came out with an opportunity, to strike against another opponent, and they showed that they've been waiting on that. I challenged them to be the most physical team out here at all times, and I think they did exactly that in accepting that challenge.
It's interesting. The quarterback position always gets the eyes on it. It's done that for years, from the days of the Philip Simses and the J.J. Williamsons and the Greg Boones, and you got one of those guys coaching with you, and Sean Mitchell. Lonnie's hurt, but you're QB now, and Justice Kohler, he's only 13, 14 years old, whatever, he's a ninth grader. He feel like a young Mitchell out there. He was really poised and didn't get rattled.
Yeah, so he always says that he doesn't feel a lot of pressure. So you can kind of see, even when he's, he makes a play, he doesn't do too many celebrations and things like that, which is also great for a quarterback. He doesn't get too much up and he doesn't get too much down. But I'm honestly surprised about the guy that's trying to compete with that spot. And Braden Davis, he's been competing all camp. At first, we thought he was just kind of going to give the spot away. But within this last week, our blue gold scrimmage, he battled and he played well. He played well again tonight and had some mistakes, but he's definitely putting the pressure on Justice to go in and actually take the spot and not just for it to be given to him.
When you do, despite only having 4 starters back, you do have some known commodities like a Dante Dent, James Madison commit at wide receiver, defensive back, Kamani Bynum back there with him in the second grade, Tajay Curtis at running back. In addition to that, some guys emerging in the other spots at running back and DB. Travion Holmes tonight, big home run. And then for your number 2, I know he goes by the name of Twin. Help me out with the name. Number 2 had the big interception.
Tristan Griffin. He's one of the twins.
So you're seeing some other guys, the depth is starting to come to fruition for you?
Yeah, so, these guys been on JV or just been grinding and waiting for that opportunity to, be able to take over the realm of the Oscar Smith Tiger defense. And, they've been waiting. They've been working and waiting patiently. And opportunity showed itself, and they showed up and showed out like they should.
Sure, two more for you. How much up front is the big, the circle thing for you and your staff tonight to have those offensive and defensive linemen play with that edge and that ferocity, because you did lose some guys on both sides of the line. That's what the games are won for offense.
Yeah, I couldn't be more proud of our line on both sides of the ball. I've been challenging those, especially those offensive linemen all off-season camp to, get it together, come together, and be the most together group on the field and be the most dominant group on the field, because it's been a back and forth every single day in practice. The guys going back and forth, and I challenged my offensive line to step up and take it over, and that's exactly what they did today. I'm excited of what we got against another opponent, and I'm looking forward to watching this film and getting better and moving forward.
Sure. Last scrimmage will be against Booker T, but final one for you, sort of a two-part question. You run into a gauntlet to start the season with Warwick, Varina, Indian River, Kings Fork, four of the better defenses around the state, not just 757. How do you get through that gauntlet, and what would be a successful stretch for you out of that gauntlet in your eyes? What would be successful coming through that?
Undefeated, of course. Undefeated, no matter what. That's the standard, and that's the standard that we live by, no matter who's playing, no matter whose time it is at the moment. The standard is the standard, and we don't coach to lose. So we coach to win, and that's how we're going to train our kids, and that's how our kids are going to act and respond.
The beat goes on over there. Oscar Smith, the Tiger Cage are roaring. Get ready for another season and a possible three-peat. Thank you so much. All the best.
No problem.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome you back to 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe with Coach Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. You heard from Jahvoni Simmons, coach, back-to-back state champions there, and it should be an interesting year for them, Ed, because the quarterback goes down. And I get your quick take on this. They win back-to-back titles. No Alani Andrews III, but they looked pretty well in the scrimmage. The sky was falling. They had a couple defensive linemen in Lennox Williams and Lincoln Holiday. They transferred out to Loudon Sports Academy and IMG Academy in Florida, Loudon Sports up in Northern Virginia. Only one of their top 12 guys that were all region, all state performers from a year ago back is Kamonte Bynum, but they still have athletes. They're Oscar Smith. Was the demise of Oscar Smith from folks in the offseason when the sky was falling a little bit premature? Are they still Oscar Smith in the mystique and until proven otherwise? What do you think?
You'd like to say until proven otherwise. A lot of times strong tradition teams, I'll go with them until they lose. I make this crazy statement. I'm picking them to win until they lose. In other words, they're going to have to show me that they've come back into reality, that they're not the program they used to be, and tradition doesn't matter anymore. And, of course, losing a quarterback in football, I mean, you can't lose a more important position. But they're putting another youngster. I remember a few years back when we were talking about Lonnie Andrews as the starting quarterback at Smith as a freshman. We were all like, uh-oh, they're going to be in trouble.
Go back to before that was Sean Mitchell, his quarterback's coach that went to William & Mary, set records. Go back to before that, Philip Sims, who set records. They've done this before. So if any program can survive play. Remember the year at Morgan's last year at Oscar Smith when they lost players? They lost Tavante Beckett to Indian River and Deidron Baycoat to Ocean Lakes and Kevon Bruton to Lake Taylor, and people kind of threw dirt on them and said, this is going to be a rebuilding year, and ended up getting to the state championship game. So I think my bigger question for you, and we'll do this with the picks next week, so I don't want you to give away everything. I feel like people are so concerned about will they beat Indian River, Kings Fork, where they finish in the Southeastern District. But they're playing the long game of where they go in Class 6 as two-time defending champs, and it feels like Class 6 is relatively wide open. There's some good teams in Northern Virginia, the Madisons, the Battlefields, the South Counties of the world, the fill-in-the-blanks, the Centervilles, the Lake Braddocks, some teams in Richmond like Thomas Dale and Manchester and L.C. Bird. But by then, that freshman quarterback, he should be well-seasoned by the playoffs, shouldn't he?
Yeah, yes. And the other thing is this. Programs that are strong in terms of the athletes, they just need, okay, we'll use this situation. We just need the quarterback to do what he's capable of doing for running our program. We have the other players to kind of protect him. We have other players to do their job. So it's not like we're asking the freshman quarterback to be Patrick Mahomes day one. It's the idea of, can he hand the ball off? Can he run our offenses without getting rattled? Can he stand in that pocket when it gets a little crazy? Can the line, continue to block? Can the receivers catch the ball when he throws it? Can our defense do what it's normally capable of doing? In other words, we don't want to put all the emphasis on one guy and then it doesn't work. It's, do we have the right people around him? And all he has to do is what we're asking of him at his position. And usually in coaching, you're not going to ask too much of a kid that he can't handle, because who can do that then, let alone a freshman? So, and I think Smith can answer those questions. Now, with that all being said, Southeastern District, a tough out. There's a lot of teams in there very good, and they're coming to hunt bear, and they get excited about a freshman quarterback. We're going to try to do everything we can to disrupt him, and when you hit him hard. Like, make sure he knows he's getting his bell rung every time we come in there. I'm not saying play dirty, but football's a contact sport. Contact him. I think that's what we have to look at. And until they play some games, we don't know. We could speculate. We don't know. But you're right. The past, they have proven, still Oscar Smith. And until they show they can't be, I'm with them.
There you go. Before we let you bolt, because I know you have some things to tend to, and I'll finish up the show with my top 10 NFL players from the 757 and a couple more interviews. We do have a PSA from one of our good buddies and pals. Here he is.
Good morning, gentlemen. And Ed, when it comes to you, I use the term gentleman loosely, very loosely. But a little bird told me, Matt, that 2 days ago was your birthday. So, happy late birthday to you. Happy late birthday to you. Happy late birthday, dear Matt. Happy late birthday to you. And many more. But wait, there is more. This is a birthday song. It isn't very long. That's it. It's not very long. But I got some more for you. May God bless you. May God bless you. May God bless you, Matt. May God bless you. And of course, we have to do it in Greek. Chronia pola, yati yortisu, chronia pola, chronia pola. Run away, Rush. With my tongue sticking out, Rush. Nazis. And translated from Greek, that means may you live many happy, prosperous, and healthy years. Love you, Matt. Happy birthday. I hope you're still enjoying the day today. Although I don't know how, since you got to put up with Ed over there. Yeah. Ed, just kidding, buddy. You know I love you outside of the ring. But inside the ring, I can't stand you. But that's all right, because it's not about you today, is it? For a change. It's about Matt. Happy birthday, Matt. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you, the infamous George Pontus. That was very nice of him. That was great. That was great. So I kiss off to you. Get out of here.
Well, first of all, it's good to see George, because the last time I saw George, we saw the backside of him running from the ring.
Getting chased out of the ring over there.
Yeah, getting chased away as his plan fell apart, and Brandon Scott was chasing him with the kendo stick. And Brandon Scott got his contract back, and everything is all peaceful in Virginia Championship Wrestling. And Mr. Pontus, even though you lost, I'm not going to relish it, and you got your butt whipped, and you were running like a scared dog. You are in the wrestling. We'll see later on, October 3rd, the next big
is it? Okay.
30th anniversary, and it's going to be at the Masonic Temple in Norfolk. So we'll see what we have planned for. I might have something planned for Mr. Pontus.
I'm sure he's got some things up his sleeve too, but we appreciate that. I was told not to open it until now, so that was a nice little birthday present. But we will bid adieu to you, sir. We will see you next time. Have a great rest of your week. We'll now ban you from the segment. Don't worry, Woody. I got one more full in the pool before we say so long. So when we come back, you'll hear from DJ Dinsmoor of First Colonial, as well as Billy Mills of the Dinwiddie Generals, before we bid adieu on this episode, and my top 10 NFL players from the 757 all time. It's all on the way here on Cova Sports TV. We've been asking all morning long. We want to hear from you. Which team that had a losing record last year, college, pro, or high school, will have a winning record in 2026? And if you watch our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday edition of the program, for television, Coach and I will probably give you our picks. We'll pick out one. Remember, last year we had our two biggest turnaround stories. He had Lake Taylor, which won a state championship from 3-7. That was a heck of a pick. Hard to beat that. I had Chill Howie, the Warriors, who went from 3-7 to 10-2. Pretty darn good. Would have been a better pick than Ed's most years, except he took a team that won a state championship. So I can't beat that one. So we'll give you our pick, be it high school, be it college, be it pro. And I have about 5 to 6 to 7 most improved teams in the state that I'll tell you about, whether they're in our top 10s that are rolling on VirginiaPreps.com daily or not. That's all on the way. But another timeout, got to pay the bills, and we'll be back in just a moment. You're watching Cova Sports TV.
Authentic Italian cuisine can be found in just one place in Hampton Roads, Il Giardino Ristorante in Virginia Beach. Il Giardino offers veal, seafood, chicken, pasta, vegetarian, and pizza creations. Add the sounds of the piano bar and lounge, and it's no wonder Il Giardino is such a popular local spot. Open daily at 5 p.m.
Welcome to the most honest commercial you'll ever see.
And as you can see, me and you are both having trouble starting to talk.
Yep.
I mean, this is something that you're breathing in every day.
Yeah. Like 50% of the air in the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is coming from down here.
Yes, sir.
How's your crawl space looking? You say we're going to be here a while.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get busy. Get a free and honest inspection with JES Foundation Repair, a groundworks company.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
All right, here with first-year head football coach DJ Dinsmoor of the First Colonial Patriots. Has just concluded a preseason scrimmage with the Woodside Wolverines. Coach, 2 scrimmages in the books. I know this one was stopped due to the weather with the lightning, but Atlantic Shores last week, this one with Woodside. What have you seen from your group?
I've seen a lot of improvement from last week to this week. We really spent a lot of time on just cleaning up our blocking assignments up front with the offensive line, really focused on the defense, flying around, playing team football, making sure that we get 11 hats to the football. I think we showed great team chemistry on the goal line stand down here, getting that goal line stop. Just got a couple more things to clean up offensively. A half a second more of a block here or there. I think we got some big runs coming.
Sure, and you had a physicality, especially as the scrimmage was progressing there towards the end before they halted it with lightning. How much has that been a thing that just you love up, especially being the old line coach that you are,
yes,
right?
Sir, yeah. Day one, it's like I tell the guys, man, we don't have anything if we don't have an offensive line. We got those guys got to play 5 as one. They've really started to build their brotherhood together. A group of 5 guys, working as one unit, and the physicality has been something that Coach Maggs and I have really emphasized to those guys. We got to win the trenches to be a successful team. It starts up front.
And you've got some playmakers on the outside, in particular Dallas Tyler, Kai Ames. You had a couple of takeaways tonight. How much are you leaning on those guys to be those playmakers for you on the perimeter?
Yeah, we're looking for those guys to be explosive playmakers. You saw Dallas tonight with two interceptions on defense. Slant route that got tipped. He still came up with a catch. That ball doesn't get tipped. That's a touchdown, walk in. We had a nice, seam route to Jason Goldsberry, another good pass from Sage and Kinslow. All those things are, what we're working on to be more successful.
How much have you and the coaches also talked about when something bad does happen, a negative play, whatever it might be, not to have the heads hang and sulk over, to just play the next play, if you will? How much has that been a message with your group?
Huge message with our group. Everything is, I kind of took it from Kurt Signetti, each play has a life of its own. 6 seconds of hell, have a short-term memory, be like a goldfish from Ted Lasso, the most important play is the play we're on. If we're thinking about the play in the future, the play in the past, we can't focus on the play that we're on. And that's the most important play of the game.
Yeah, and I think your kids relate to some of those messages, be it here in sports or movies. And some of these guys you have on your staff, like the Gunnar Whites, the LaRonda Liverpools, the Eric Magwoods, that have played this game not that long ago, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. And they've bred a lot of that into these guys that, kind of like we talked about before, they're 757 guys, and they've seen the ups and downs of the different schools, and they understand what we're trying to do here. We're trying to, build something new, shift the culture around, bring back the old FC winning ways, get back to the early late 90s playoff runs, get back to those type of winning things.
And lastly, game one is against Bayside, correct?
Game one is against Bayside on the 28th.
What will you need to see for more progress to happen moving forward to that game and then beyond that?
Just getting crisper at everything that we do. Perfection is the main thing. I try to talk to the kids a lot about I'm not so concerned about the result of the play. I'm more concerned about the execution of the play. We could run for a touchdown, but if it wasn't blocked perfect, I'm not going to be satisfied.
Looking for perfection, Coach Dinsmoor and the Patriots. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
So you just heard from DJ Dinsmoor of the First Colonial Patriots here on 757 Sports Talk. Matt Hatfield here with you as we get ready for the start of football, high school, college, pro, all over the state of Virginia and beyond. Lots happening all over with preseason games. Get ready for those college football games to get rolling. If you missed any of our show, you can always go back and check it out through Cova Sports TV on the YouTube channel. We ask you to like, share, and subscribe to it. First Colonial opens up on the 28th of August against Bayside. Ironically enough, we had on earlier in the show Dontrell, Leonard, new coach of the Marlins. So that'll be interesting. We're going to do our top 10 players from the 757 in NFL history. Now, I want to preface this before we get to that list coming up in our next and final segment of the program, because you're going to hear from Billy Mills of the Dinwiddie Generals coming up in just a moment. When I do that, it is based on their NFL careers, not their high school or their college careers. Where they were in high school, he did this, he did that. So keep that in mind as you assess these names that are going to be scrolling across when you see it come up here. And we did a top 10 baseball list back in the spring. You can go check it out. I'm going to do a top 10 players from the 757 all time in NBA history when we get to the wintertime. And I'm sure Ed will be certainly weighing in on that topic and chiming in about what I did right, what I did wrong, more of what I got wrong than what I got right when it comes to that. So that'll be coming up in just a bit. But as I just mentioned, teams all over the state of Virginia. You can check out virginiapreps.com. We ask you, this, my little PSA, subscribe now. My entire team at Virginia Preps. I'm the publisher and editor, but Will Garlick, Jenny Lewis and company doing yeoman's work. You can read all the different previews from Osborne Park to Green Run to Thomasdale to Warwick to Rappahannock and all down the list of the different teams around the state. We have free message boards, but sign up today through the Rivals and On3 Network. You get 75% off your first year that is billed annually. That's a heck of a deal. You want to join today and get all the content that you can't get anywhere else when it comes to in-depth coverage on our high school sports teams and players, football recruiting rankings too. It's all there on virginiapreps.com, part of the Rivals Network, powered by On3. And one of those teams is ranked in our Virginia Preps Class 4 top 10. They've been for years and years and years. Up there in Dinwiddie County, Billy Mills and the Generals looked pretty good with a freshman triggerman in Jalen Cox. Also got a young sophomore running back who's not too shabby, and a couple of edge guys defensively that made their presence felt as they had a tri-scrimmage with Oscar Smith and Green Run in Virginia Beach on Thursday. And here's the veteran, the wily Coach Mills with us now on Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with Dinwiddie head football coach Billy Mills. His Generals wrapping up a preseason scrimmage with the Oscar Smith Tigers, two-time defending Class 6 state champs, and the Green Run Stallions here in Virginia Beach. Coach, you've done this tri-scrimmage for several years over the years, and I know it's a new group with a lot of underclassmen, but you got to be pleased with the effort and attitude, I know, which was the points of emphasis coming in for your guys.
Absolutely. I told them control their attitude and their effort, and I felt like they absolutely did that. I love the way our leaders kind of pulled those younger kids aside and got them right and got them back out there and competed against two really good football teams. I mean, this is something we've been doing since, I guess, 2007, 2008. It's been a while, but I always get good work, two great coaches, two great programs, and, we always come out of it, better than we were when we went in. So got a chance to see some stuff on film and, get some really good competition.
And, of course, your program's one of those two with multiple state championships and several deep playoff runs over the years there at Dinwiddie. You told me coming in a couple of guys to keep an eye out, Jordan Williams and Jeremiah Curley. Williams had a nice touchdown catch there in the end of the 10-on-10 session for you, and both those guys were active, I thought, throughout the night at linebacker. What'd you see?
Oh, yeah, I'm real pleased with them. I mean, they played D-line last year, played the end, and we moved them back, and Jordan is kind of taking over the defense, makes all the calls. Does a lot of that stuff. He's got 4 or 5 choices. He's got to make the right one. I thought he ran that stuff really well. Mm-hmm. I think there's only one mess up. I think that was when I got in the way. So it's usually the case. But, they did really well. I know we're going to see some mistakes, but, that's why we go against good teams, so we can find that stuff out early and get back on the film, get back on practice next week, make those corrections. Real surprised with him. At tight end, I thought he did made two good catches, and real proud of my freshman. That's got to be a little overwhelming for your first taste of varsity football, being against Oscar Smith and Green Run. So I was pleased his poise and the way he hung in there and made some good plays, and we saw some good stuff. Thought DeRicus ran the ball really well.
That's number 29, was it for you?
Yeah. He's number 5 for us.
Okay.
We've been waiting for that. And he made some really good reads and ran through some tackles, and we were pleased with our running back room. Also Mills jumps in there, and Juju Cooper jumped in there. So I mean, a lot of guys showed up tonight that we were surprised. So so that's kind of want to see, look at a lot of them, see how to handle the situation. Real pleased.
Yeah, last one for you, Coach. I mean, certainly the personnel can change from year to year, but it feels like you guys have a system. You want to play with tempo. You want to be fundamentally sound, discipline, and how much of those things are going to be the parts that carry you through as you go through the Central District, which is getting better and better with obviously the Thomas Dales, the Petersburgs of the world, and Region 4B, which is no picnic when you got you guys as well as Louisa, Huguenot, and Verina.
Oh, well, I mean, we don't shy from competition. Our off season, I mean, our out of district games, there's got Highland Springs in there.
Yeah.
Next sitting, just found out we're going to pick up Glen Allen and Manchester along with Highland Springs. So we all, I want to play good competition and scrimmages, play them early and be battle tested going in, because, if you can stay healthy and make it through Region B, you got a really good chance. So, you gotta be prepared for that kind of work when you get in there. So you can't kind of look away from it, and we're looking forward to it.
Friday nights are always fun for Coach Mills and the Dinwiddie Generals. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you.
Dinwiddie's going to be good again. They lost some key guys from a year ago, one of which transferred to Verina, but I like what I saw from them, and they're going to be similar to Oscar Smith. They're young in some spots, but they're going to be a hard out come playoff time, even in a region that's loaded with Verina and Huguenot, and Coach Mills is one of the best around. So good to catch up with him and watch his team compete as he gets the most out of them. All right, 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV, where we ask you to always like, interact, and share and subscribe. When we come back, we have for you my top 10 NFL players from the 757 all time. This was a hard list, some quality snubs. Maybe the 2 best high school players that people say they've ever seen in a 757, they didn't make the cut for this list. And you say, how? Are you on drugs? You need to be drug tested? We know Coach Young thinks I need to be. We'll come back and tell you who, how, what, when, where, why, all that good stuff when we return here. It's 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
well, no, we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in a phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
Ah, yes, another edition of Joke Time on Poolside Adventures. And I know some of you are wondering, why do rabbits not get hot in the summertime? And the answer is because they have hair conditioning.
All right, we finish up this episode of 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV with my all-time 757 team of players that have played and starred in the National Football League. This is a tough list, folks. We're going to give them to you from 10 to 1 as we count them down. And number 10, we go with Plaxico Burress. He had a Green Run High School in Virginia Beach, played at Michigan State, won a Super Bowl with the New York Giants. You know, he had that touchdown catch that in some ways got overshadowed by the David Tyree helmet catch. But what gives him the nod over a guy that didn't make this team was the fact that he was a Super Bowl champion, and he had, in terms of 1,000-yard receiving seasons, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wasn't a Pro Bowler, but his playoff performance was also better than the guy that did not make the cut, which we'll tell you about at the end of this. Plaxico, Plex Burress. You know, he had a couple of incidents off the field, but hey, had a couple of ball players, Steelers and Giants, Jets, and Steelers to close things out in his pro career. Number 9 on the list, William Fuller, and this might be mighty low for William Fuller. You can make a case for him being in that 6, 7, 8 range for William Fuller. This is a guy that at Indian River High School in Chesapeake, North Carolina, first-round draft choice in the supplemental draft back in 1984. 4-time Pro Bowler, second-team All-Pro, not first-team All-Pro, and he had 100.5 sacks. He was really the guy of longevity that got it done, and I think that's what he's going to define his career. He's a college football Hall of Famer, not a pro football Hall of Famer, but he is in the class of really, really, really darn good and had some moments of great. And his longevity certainly puts him in this list in conversation. 100.5 sacks. Start with the Houston Oilers, Philadelphia Eagles. Close it out with the San Diego Chargers, the Superchargers. Number 9 on my list. Number 8 on my list. Another guy you could argue to be a couple spots higher. That's D'Angelo Hall. He of Purple Thunder, Deep Creek High School, and the Hornets. Went on to start Virginia Tech. We know what a star he was defensively. He was a multi-sport standout in high school basketball and track to go with football, but 3-time All-Pro. He's in the 90 greatest players in Washington Redskins turned Commanders history, and then he has the record for most interceptions in a game with 4. But he got nudged out on the 8th spot by the guy's number 7, and that's Cam Chancellor. Cam Chancellor didn't have quite the longevity that Hall did in terms of playing 2010 to 2018 with the Seattle Seahawks, but he was a Super Bowl champion, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time second-team All-Pro, and he's in the top 50 of Seattle Seahawks players of all time. Could have easily gotten a second Super Bowl ring if not for Pete Carroll's questionable, dare I say, boneheaded decision to have Russell Wilson drop back and throw in that Super Bowl against the New England Patriots when Malcolm Butler picked off Wilson. But that Legion of Boom that he was a part of, the Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, legendary. Sort of like from a defensive back standpoint, what the Purple People Eaters were for the Minnesota Vikings and that defensive front, how it just changed games up. Bam, Bam, Cam, certainly worthy on this list, just like D'Angelo Hall. You're splitting hairs with those two guys. I go with Chancellor 7 and Hall at number 8. How about number 6? We go in the Wayback Machine, one of those old timers. He was a great one. Henry Jordan. Warwick High School, Newport News, Virginia, born in Emporia. Henry Jordan, a lot of people don't know, 2-time Super Bowl champion from the Green Bay Paca days, Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II, and played with the Cleveland Browns before that, but 5-time NFL champion, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 59.5 sacks. You say, how is he ahead of Fuller? Different eras. Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame. It's hard to overlook what he did in a different era. He was just magnificent, and he's worthy on this list. The championships, 5 of them, that's a big, big deal. You can make a case he's too high, he's too low. I'm putting him at 6 on this list because the top 5, they're hard to dispute. Number 5 is a guy that's currently coaching college football. Behold, the green and gold, Norfolk State's very own Michael Vick, who starred back in the day in Newport News. We saw him scrambling around doing some magical things for Warwick High and then Virginia Tech, leading them to a national championship game appearance as a freshman. But this is a pro list. This is a pro list in terms of overall excitement, exhilarating. Nobody probably trumps Michael Vick in that regard. His pro career, we know he had the incidents off the field, didn't have the longevity, but he was the comeback player of the year, a 4-time Pro Bowler, had the Falcons on the doorstep of a Super Bowl appearance, and he was electrifying. Still holds the NFL record for career yards per carry. So he was the guy that set the tone, set the bar, revolutionized it for the RG3s and Lamar Jackson's world. That dual threat scrambling quarterback that can move on his feet, changed football in a lot of respects. And he was certainly breathtaking when he was on the field. Michael Vick is number 5 on this list. I'm sure some have him a couple spots lower. Some might have him a spot or 2 higher even. But the top 4, they're really rock solid as it gets. They really are. And number 4 on my list, just ahead of Vick, is the late great, we lost him last November, Kenny Easley, the enforcer. He of Oscar Smith High School. Kenny Easley had a long wait to get in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 1984 after starring at UCLA. 4-time first-team All-Pro. 6 years with the Seahawks, 81 to 87. His window was actually shorter than Chancellor's. So you say, why isn't Chancellor higher? Got himself a Super Bowl. Well, again, NFL Defensive Player of the Year. I think that accentuates his greatness at that position. Led the league in interceptions, 5-time Pro Bowler, all-decade team in the 1980s for the National Football League. Kenny Easley hits the spot at number 4. At number 3, I'm going to go with a crabber. You can't crush a crab, a guy that was part of one of the all-time teams, the Miami Dolphins, Dwight Stevenson. Centers don't get the love, but this guy was really, really, really darn good. And it's hard to measure them compared to other players because you don't have the statistics as far as centers go. But he was the Man of the Year in 1985, 4-time first-team All-Pro, all-decade team 1980s, 100th anniversary all-time team, Dolphins honor roll, great blocker. Miami Dolphins don't have the success they did without Dwight Stevenson at the center spot. I know he doesn't have the rings, but the Dolphins were a perennial power. And interestingly enough, he was used on special teams only until Mark Dennard got hurt And then he got recognized as the best center in the sport, best at his position in the sport. When you're the best at your position, even if that position is center, it's not viewed as as value. That's the guy snapping it. 5 consecutive All-Pro appearances. Hats off to him. You're splitting hairs with him and Easley, but I like the fact that Stevenson, the 8 years, the Dolphins, he was rock solid. I'm going to go with him at 3, Easley at 4. 1 and 2, they're no-brainers. They're tough to argue against for anybody. And Bruce Smith is number 2. Most times he would be number 1, but you'll see who's number 1 in a second. The NFL's all-time sack leader from Booker T. Washington High School in Norfolk, Virginia Tech. Guy did it all. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time All-Pro First Team, 11 Pro Bowls. And even at the end with the Washington, then Redskins, now Commanders, he had a heck of an impact. And he wasn't the player he was with the Bills, but he was still as good as it got. Defensive end, rushing the passer, game changer. Bruce Smith, part of those Bills teams that made 4 consecutive trips to the Super Bowl. And in fact, the guy that beats out Bruce for number 1 beat Bruce in that first Super Bowl he went to with the New York Football Giants. We're talking about the guy that's, in many people's opinions, the best defensive player to ever do it. He was Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was NFL MVP in 1986 and a 2-time Super Bowl champion. LT out of Lafayette High School in Williamsburg, Lawrence Taylor, the sacks leader in 86, 10-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. It didn't get better than that guy. LT was the gold standard for linebackers in the National Football League. People always look at that highlight play, which he doesn't like to look back at, with Joe Theismann where his leg broke. But Lawrence Taylor, a different kind of dude at linebacker. So again, that's the list. LT 1, Bruce Smith 2, Dwight Stevenson 3, Kenny Easley 4, Michael Vick, Henry Jordan, Cam Chancellor, D'Angelo Hall, William Fuller, and Plaxico Burress. No Ronald Curry, didn't have the NFL career. No Percy Harvin. What did it for me on Plax over Percy? I was convinced on Percy when I first did this dive was Percy never had a 1,000-yard season. He did win a Super Bowl. So did Plax. Had a touchdown return in the Super Bowl. But he didn't have maybe the consistency in terms of production in the playoffs that Plax did. So I gave Plax the nod over Percy on that last slot. It was tricky. A lot of other good players came to mind. Tyrod's had longevity, but hasn't been a starter for much of his time in the league. To go through a bunch of names, but that's the 10 that we landed on for the Hatfield best from the 757 in the National Football League. And we thank you all for tuning in. That's going to do it for this episode of 757 Sports Talk. We thank our guests from Billy Mills and Daryl Cherry to Donnell Cherry, DJ Dinsmoor, Jahvoni Simmons, Brandon Williams, Zecharie James. I didn't leave anybody else out. Dontrell, Leonard, and from our partner, Coach Ed Young. We'll catch you next time right here on Cova Sports TV. Have a great weekend, everybody.